simply how to have a great marriage. Yes, if you want to have a great marriage, listen up for the next 15 or so minutes. And these are some great tips, if I may say so myself here. One second. Okay. So, with that said, look, the Lord God has blessed me with a wonderful wife. And if I may say so myself, we do have a pretty damn good marriage. Now, of course, it's not perfect, but I would definitely say on a scale of thumbs up or thumbs down, it's thumbs up. It's not an A plus marriage, but it's at the very least, an A minus marriage. But I'd say it's a strong A. And well, look, my wife is a true blessing to me. I always acknowledge that. And I think through the years, because we've been together for over 20 years now, my wife and I have been together for, I think, 22 years now. And we are, I can honestly say that we get happier each and every year. And with that said, I think that some wisdom from the Raymonator can be passed on to you young GenzErs so you could know how to have a good marriage. And that's really what's important. A good marriage, nothing beats a good marriage. Right, T-Bone? That's right. T-Bone is my second wife, actually. Now, as you know, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Like, what kind of woman would marry Supercharger Boy? That's you're actually married, which I get that a lot. And yes, I am. And not only that, we have a great marriage. Now, the wife is very modest, okay? So the wife, if my wife ever was on a Twitch channel, I think all of Twitch would fall apart because she's not an actress, she's not a performer, she's not a singer. She is a very modest woman, which actually is part of one of the tips I'm going to give. So if anyone is wondering, well, who would actually marry Supercharger Boy? Who is your wife, and what does she look like? Well, I'm not going to give a picture of her because she is a very modest woman, but I'll give you basically what she looks like. My wife basically looks like the combination of three people. Okay, and if you mesh these three people together, then you'll know exactly what my wife looks like. So my wife, the first person she looks like is this guy right here. Yes, one of the outsiders. What are we? We're outsiders. So yes, she does have a little bit of Johnny from the Outsiders there. Now I know what you're saying, John. Wait, Johnny's a guy. Yes, don't worry. My wife looks very feminine because that's just one of the people she looks like. So picture a little. Okay, so you got his face in your mind, right? Okay, so that's now add on to it this Bambi, yes. So mix Johnny from the Outsiders with Bambi from Bambi, and now you see how the face is kind of the image is now becoming more clear, right? So, and Bambi was a woman, okay? So there we go. You mix a little feminine deer into Johnny from the Outsiders, and lastly, to complete her look, she also looks a third like this woman. Yes, Octomom. Yes, Nadia Suleiman, the girl that has I think 9,000 kids. So if you combine all three of these people together, Johnny from the Outsiders, mixed with a beautiful little fawn, a beautiful little deer named Bambi, and Octomom. That is my wife. Look at that. I'm looking at all three of these pictures now, and it's like, I miss you, honey. She's at work right now, and I miss you already. That is my wife. She is a combination of Bambi, Johnny from the Outsiders, and Octomom. If you can put all of those faces into a blender, mix it up, and then take what comes out of the blender and kind of just mold it into a beautiful face, that is my wife. So look at that. I miss you already, honey. Every time I see Johnny in that, I get horny. I want you to come home so we can get ready and do the nasty. So that is my wife, Bambi, Octomom, and Johnny from the Outsiders. Now at least everyone knows what my wife looks like. Okay, and don't worry, guys. I asked my wife permission if I could do this first. I am not getting in trouble for this stuff. But it was a little weird. Honey, do you mind when I do the stream today, I'm going to tell people what you look like? I'm going to tell him you look like Bambi, Octomom, and Johnny from The Outsiders. Definitely something you want to clear with the wife before you start broadcasting, right? Okay. All right. So let's move on now to 7. I've identified 7 things that if you do these 7 things, you will have a great marriage, as good as the Raymonator and his old wifeinator, Mrs. Supercharger Boy. And again, any good marriage takes work, so work on these 7 things. If you don't have any of these 7 things and you can't get it like that, which you probably can't, you work on it. Okay, it took us 22 years to be able to do this segment. I guess this is a segment 22 years in the making. So, number 1, what is the number 1 tip in having a good marriage? Well, what do we always start with? Boom. Yes, you have to do it God's way. Now, this is not a Christian channel, although my wife and I are both devout Christians. And look, all I got to say is this, your salvation is your salvation. Whether you come to Christ or not is completely up to you. But one thing I would say is that God has already worked out a perfect plan God is a God of order, okay? So when it comes to your marriage, if you understand his word, you understand that there is an order to everything. Now, I think they said that it's like, just by going to church, because what you'll find when you become Christian is not everyone that goes to church or says they're religious is actually one of God's people. Which means that not everyone in your church is actually a real Christian. But just by going to church, I think the statistics are like 82% of couples that regularly go to church never get divorced. So that's pretty amazing that just by going to a place every week, that increases your chances of not getting a divorce. Now, of course, I'm not saying just go to the building and then you're going to be safe. No, you want to understand God's word and understand what does God say about having a good marriage. And if you can start to apply those things, you'll see that, whoa, God, the big man upstairs, has really set it up. He's set people up, if we follow his way, to actually have a good marriage. And that's all I got to say about that. Do it God's way. Find out what God has to say about marriage. Come to Jesus if you are one of the elect, and start to have a marriage the way God intended it to you. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go completely into scripture or anything like that, because again, this is not a Christian channel. I'm not expecting everyone here to be a Christian, but I do promise you, if you do it God's way, find out what God's way is, that is a great first step. Okay? And see, I was serious again. Pretty serious. Okay, now, what is number 2? What is the number 2 key to having a good marriage? Boom. Yes. Now this is very, very important. God first, but then this is a very, very strong number 2. Marry your emotional opposite. Now, I know a lot of you see the Raymonator go kind of crazy sometimes on the stream, because I'm a man, and us men sometimes we get so emotional, but we don't want to act out like a woman. We want to get mad and like pound our fist on the floor. And I've broken a few. I've broken 2 TVs, but one was out of anger. The other one was already broken. It was already broken, so I was like, I might as well finish the fucker off. So yes, I can get a little bit crazy sometimes and a little bit kooky, in case y'all haven't noticed. Therefore, don't expect, if you were to ever meet my wife, for her to be some crazy raving bitch, because she's not. My wife is very even-keeled, like, on The Sims. When I flipped out on The Sims, not this stream, I was just like, I'm done with it. But that stream, the video that got like over 5K views where I flipped out on The Sims, like if that were my wife, she would just be like, what? This is stupid. I'm not playing this on. This is done. I'm done with this. Me, of course, is raging bull crazy, So it is very important, guys. I'm not saying that you need to marry someone that is opposite. You obviously want to marry someone that has your interests, that has a lot of things in common. But your emotionality, I don't know if that's a word. I'm making up words like Ryan K. Riggins, but You want to marry someone that emotionally is your opposite, which means if you're a crazy motherfucker, you better find someone with the emotionality of a Buddhist monk. If you're a Buddhist monk, you better find a crazy motherfucker. And you'll complement each other. You really will. When I'm going crazy, my wife is like, you just need to calm down. And she is. She's the one that can calm me down. I'm like, okay, honey. Yeah, I'll calm down. And I, being the kooky one, add a lot of spice to her life. I make her laugh all the time. She always tells me, I've just never met anyone like you. You are very strange. But she says that out of love. It's not like, you're fucking weird. Get the fuck away. What did I marry? Yeah, maybe a little bit sometimes. But always marry your emotional opposite, which means you need to, before you get married, you need to be in touch with your own emotions. No, am I a crazy motherfucker or am I a Buddhist monk? And whichever one you are, you go for opposite. And if you ever find, because imagine if, Raymonator was married to a crazy bitch. Ooh, that would not be good. I don't know what would happen. I think the whole world would have burned down already. We would have triggered Armageddon already. So your emotional opposite, very important. And no, be honest with yourself. If you're a crazy motherfucker, just admit you're a crazy motherfucker. Okay. And you'll find though that it will work. It will work. So look, if you find someone that you lust over and they're emotionally the same as you, then maybe that's just lust, because it's going to be very hard for that to develop into love. So again, and imagine two Buddhist monks married, two people with the demeanor of Buddhist monks. That'd be such a boring marriage. What is number 3? What is the number 3 key to having a good marriage? Boom! Yes, I bet you didn't see that one coming, bitches. Watch TV together. Now, why? I know what you NPR listening intellectuals are thinking. Well, we don't watch TV. We don't even have cable, Superchargerboy. Cable just rots your brain. We just sit around and listen to NPR all day. Yeah, that's why you're on your road to divorce, motherfucker. Watching TV together is very important. And look, again, even if you're not a big TV person, because I understand, like a lot of millennials, like we don't even have cable. Okay, we like NPR. But you want to at least find 1 or 2 shows, preferably 3. If you can find 3, man, you probably got a better marriage than me. I think me and my wife are still looking for a 3rd show to watch. But and it's because watching TV together, it bonds you. Look, I understand that, look, there's more productive things we all could be doing with our time. Yes, it would be nice if my wife and I could go hiking every day and talk about nature and share poetry with each other. But our busy lives, I mean, look at me. I this stream takes up a lot of my time. Everyone has busy lives, and you just can't do the natural things that we all think that we should be doing. Most of our time bonding with our wife or our husband, let's say on a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, when you're in the swing of your work week, is watching TV. And if you have to think about this, if you do not have a show to watch with your wife, you're either off playing video games, which if you're just off playing video games all the time, and I say this as someone who hosts a video game stream, your wife is going to resent you. And if she's always off watching her own shows while you're in the other room playing video games, well, you tell me how that marriage is going to end up. So you have to find a few shows, just find a few shows to watch together. My wife and I love watching The Real World ever since we got the Paramount network. So we're watching all the seasons that we didn't, that we never saw, when we were younger. And what's great is you tease people on it. You have, nothing bonds a husband and wife, at least in this modern day, when you're watching something and you're like, man, this guy's an asshole. And she's like, yeah, he is an asshole. And then you're like, oh man, I really feel sorry for Tony on The Real World. They brought both of his exes, and what's he gonna do? You bond over that. You bond over having emotions about characters on TV. And look, it's better than talking shit about real people in your life. Better to talk shit about fake people in their fake life on TV than to bond over talking shit about the real people in your life that frustrate you, right? So, look. Find a show that you guys love to snuggle and watch together. I promise you it will bond you. And if you're someone that hasn't tried this, that doesn't have a show that you and your husband or you and your wife watch together, find a show to watch together. There is nothing more bonding than watching TV together. And I'll even venture to say, the more TV shows you have to watch together, the more fun you have, because life can get boring, right? Not every moment is a huge fight, or is great sex, or is you know, you're going on vacation. Not every moment can be like that. Some moments are like, yeah, we just had a good dinner and we watched TV. That's glue. That's called marriage glue. All those exciting moments, those will come when they come, but they're exciting because they're few and far between, right? Well, great sex shouldn't be few and far between, but like vacations are few and far between. You know, really deep talks with your wife are few and far between. You can't always have a deep talk with your wife because deep shit doesn't always come up. So what is the glue that holds all those moments together? It's you watching The Real World, talking about Tony, or talking about any of these people. The Real World Skeletons, I gotta say, that is the most insane fucking season of The Real World I've ever seen. I don't want it to end. If you have not seen The Real World Skeletons, which I believe is season 29 or 30, those motherfuckers are crazy. And because of their craziness, my wife and I have gotten closer than ever. Okay, so Wes, watch TV together. Okay, now this one kind of ties in. This is numero 4, I believe. Numero 4, they say in German. Boom. Yes, have common enemies. Now, little disclaimer, I'm not talking about people in your personal life. That you obviously want to watch out for that. As a Christian, as a devout Christian, you're not supposed to have enemies. You're supposed to love everyone. And inevitably it is hard not to have enemies. But when I say have common enemies, you have common enemies from the TV show that you watch. Yes, as you watch TV together, you're going to, especially reality TV, you're going to really hate some people. Oh my God, what is that chick's name from The Real World St. Thomas? This is a very real world stream. Yes, what is her name? The Real World St. Thomas. It was this fucking, the girl that would always say, if you've watched The Real World St. Thomas, she'd always be like, get out of here. She was from Staten Island. We hated that bitch with the passion. She treated that red-haired dude like her little bitch, and we were bonding over hating her. We were like, what is wrong with this bitch? And my wife was like, yeah, oh my God, I fucking hate her. And I'd be like, yeah, I know, I hate her too, honey. You know, and next thing you know, we were making sweet love over our hatred for this girl. And it's healthy. Look, I think it's healthy to have enemies that, again, people you don't know. So look, if you're both into football, okay, if you're Charger fans, hate the Raiders together. You don't really want the Raiders to die in a fiery plane wreck, although that'd be nice. Just kidding. But hate them together. So if you're both big football fans, and you're both Charger fans, then bond over your hatred for the Raiders. If you hate Italian food, have long conversations about how tomato sauce sucks. Look, tomato sauce irritates my prostate anyway, so I can't have it. Whatever you guys hate together, with the disclaimer of try not to hate, the actual real people in your life. If you can hate things about them, I guess that's okay. But when you watch TV together, these go hand in hand. You're going to watch TV together, you're going to bond, and you're eventually going to hate someone on TV, and hate them together. Nothing like expressing your love for one another by hating. So, number 4, yes, have common enemies and learn to hate people together. People on TV. Okay, number 5. What is number 5? Now, number 5 is an obscure one. I bet you never heard of this one. Maybe you have if you're an older viewer of the stream. What is number 5? What is the number 5 way to have a great marriage? Boom! Yes! Saturday morning funnies. Now, this is a complete invention of my wife and I. This is made from scratch from my wife and I. Yes. Actually, we haven't had it in a while because we've been busy. But this is something my wife and I invented on the fly. Because we actually were naturally doing it, and then we realized, well, this is a cool little ingredient. Let's add this in the mix, and together we baked up a cake of a good marriage. Saturday morning funnies. Now, what are Saturday morning funnies? Well, every Saturday, my wife does not have to get up early anymore because it's the end of her work week. It's Saturday. She's in the best mood because if you work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, you're in your best mood. Face it, on Saturday morning. There's nothing greater about waking up on a Saturday morning thinking it's a work day, and then you're like, wait a second. I don't have to go to work today. Next thing you know, you're like the happiest person in the world, right? So that is the perfect time to celebrate your love for each other. And when you're in a good mood, who doesn't like to laugh when you're in a good mood? So my wife and I developed this thing that every Saturday morning when she's awake and I'm awake, we simply sit there and try to make each other laugh. Look, I don't know what you would do with your wife to make her laugh, but whatever it is that you guys think is funny, dive into that every Saturday morning. If you guys are both 9 to 5ers, when you're in your best mood, when your weekend's about to start, lay in bed for an hour and say funny things to make each other laugh. Whatever it is you do, think about a funny moment you had, think about a silly thing, think about your last fight, that you had and laugh at that. Laugh at your kid, laugh at Shrimpy the dog, whatever you need to do. You want to make sure to have time where you are actually making yourselves laugh. And Saturday morning is the best time because everyone is happy on a Saturday morning. You realize, whoa, I don't have to work and I have 2 days of freedom. Remember, this is a very freedom-centric stream, and you celebrate your freedom on Saturday morning. So yes, have Saturday morning funnies. Every Saturday morning when you're both awake, make each other laugh, be goofy. Make fun of your wife, have her make fun of you, make fun of the neighbor, do whatever you need to do. But Saturday morning funnies, copyright Superchargerboy and Octomom Bambi Johnny, take our recipe and throw it into your marriage, and you will find it's just the right spice to make your marriage great. Saturday morning funnies. Yes, we are the inventors of that. That is, all this other stuff was invented by other people. We didn't invent TV, but we did invent Saturday morning funnies. So that's the most unique ingredient out of all this whole thing. Okay. Number 6. Are we on number 6? Yes, we are on number 6. Number 6. What's the number 6 way to have a great marriage? Yes, get into new. Now you see how I capitalize new hobbies together. Now, when you come into a relationship with someone, a serious one, you're going to have your thing. She's going to have her thing. My wife likes reading. I obviously like video games. I like football, obviously. And you're going to always graft, especially the man will usually graft the woman into his hobbies. Like my wife doesn't really care about the Chargers. Now she kind of does because she knows her husband is crazy about the Chargers. We always suck, but that's besides the point. And so she's become a Charger fan. Now, when I say Charger fan, I put that in parentheses because if it wasn't for me, she would not give two bullshits about the fucking Chargers, okay? So that she was grafted into that hobby. She was nice enough to say, yeah, I'll be a Charger fan since my husband likes the Chargers, and that, I'll take on that hobby with you. Yeah, we like tailgating at the games. I don't know, I think that's all done. Thank you, Davin Gruesome. But she found something that she liked about football, and she's like, okay, then yeah. And we've had so much fun at a lot of games. My wife usually has fun, having a few drinks before the tailgate, and then once the game starts, especially if she's had a few too many, she's looking at me like, let's get out of here. But not in a mean way, in a funny way. One time she bit my face at the Charger game because she wanted to leave, and I'm like, you bit my face. So yeah, I mean, don't be Hannibal Lecter about it, but that's the point, is that you don't count on the hobbies that you've grafted your wife into. You find new hobbies. So that does not count. Okay, so naturally, yes, you're going to gravitate to some of her hobbies. Naturally, she's going to gravitate to some of your hobbies. The key ingredient, though, is getting into new hobbies together. Now, what am I talking about? What example do I have? We sold most of them and packed most of them. But my wife and I, about 2 years ago, got into buying Funko Pops. I was at GameStop and I wanted to, I think, what was my first Funko Pop I bought? I don't know. I think it was John Burns. He was the first Funko Pop I bought. I don't know. But I bought one and my wife was like, what are you doing? I came home with, and I'm like, I don't know. These things are so cool. Look, it's this character. I think it was an Apex character. And she's like, oh my God, that is so stupid. But then I took her to, I think, Frankensons, which is like a Funko Pop convention, and she all of a sudden was like, well, if you're going to buy one, I want to buy one. And I think she bought Gumby was her first Funko Pop. And to this day, she won't let me sell Gumby, even though it's worthless. And so together, even though I kind of started it, but immediately she got into it, and we got into collecting Funko Pops together, and it was fun. We don't do it as much now. It kind of got old. It's kind of old news now, but we got into collecting Funko Pops together, and we enjoyed that hobby together. And I think moving to Arizona, we're looking to find more hobbies, together, new things. I think fishing, maybe. I'm going to give fishing a try. Maybe we'll both become great fishermen when we move out there. But you always have to be finding new hobbies together. You don't want to be off doing your own hobby all the time, and then your wife is doing her own hobby, and some people don't have hobbies, so you may have one person in the marriage that has a hobby and then the other person doesn't, so they're just kind of like, yeah, he's off jet skiing and I don't know what to do. I'm just kind of here waiting for him to be done jet skiing. No, find brand new things and get into them together. Look, even if you end up being a couple 40-year-olds buying $10 toys together, it doesn't matter. I know it sounds kind of stupid, but me and my wife bonded as 40-year-olds buying toys. Funko Pops, yes. And we know that to always be on the lookout for new things we can get in together. Okay, so find new hobbies together, regardless of whatever your individual hobbies are. Okay, now number 7 is the number one. Jokingly, number one is actually the number one. Do it God's way is always number one. But if I had to say what is the Superchargerboy number one is this. Now, this is the most important thing, guys. Look at me. If you want to have a good marriage and if you want to have a happy marriage, this is essential. And I am very serious with this. This is number 7. You definitely want to do this or your marriage will be doomed. What is number 7? Yes, fart and shit in front of each other. You're damn right. I don't know what else to say, but I cannot tell you how many people I've talked to that say, oh, I don't fart in front of my husband. That's gross. And people have been together like 20 years, excuse me. Look, the way I look at it is if you cannot fucking fart in front of your husband or wife, if you can't let out a little pooter, then, it's like, what else are you hiding? If you can't share the smell of your asshole with your significant other, well, what else are you not sharing? Because your husband should know exactly what your asshole smells like. And if not, that's a problem. Look, I am joking, but I'm not really, because, and okay, fart right away in front of your husband. I'm mostly talking to you ladies, because I know you guys are the ones that are like, oh, I don't fart, I pooter, and it smells like roses. Okay. Within the first year of dating my wife, which was 22 years ago, I begged her. I was like, honey, I didn't even call her honey because we weren't, I was like, I need to hear you fart. I need it. And sometimes she'd try and she'd be like, oh no, I just can't do it. And then when she finally did, guess what I did? I buried my nose in her butt and was like, freedom. Why? Because there is something about farting and shitting that is that says a lot about how open you are with your husband or wife. I truly believe that. Look, your husband or your wife have to be able to see the crust of you. Like Chris Rock said, you gotta love the crust of a motherfucker. And you have to, in order to have a good marriage, you have to show the worst parts of yourself, and your wife has to accept that. Your wife has to show you the worst parts of herself, and she has to accept, you have to accept that as well as the man, right? Well, what is worse than a smelly egg gasoline shit fart from eating too much Filipino adobo and vinegar and soy sauce mixed in. There's nothing worse smelling than that. But you need to do it, and you need to fart and shit in front of each other. Yes, you need to shit in front of your wife. Your wife needs to be so comfortable with you that when she walks in and you are shitting the nastiest shit you've ever took, you need to be comfortable, you and her, with her coming in and being like, oh my God, that is just so disgusting. Like, what is that? Are you pooing out like a dead animal? Trust me, you need to be that comfortable. And if you're not, then again, what's going on? There's something else going on other than you not wanting to smell your husband's shit. And so what I do if my wife is taking a shit and I'm bored, let's say there's no wrestling on, or I'm sick of playing Apex and she's taking a shit, I know now's a good time to come in and have a great conversation with her. Just not the first shit. For whatever reason, I don't ever want anyone around during the first shit. And maybe that's what'll bring us to being in an A+ marriage, if I can finally take that first shit in front of her. Oh, but the first shit is just so good, and I still need to be alone. And that does hold my marriage back. I got to admit, I cannot take the first shit in front of my wife because it's just, oh, so good. But after that first shit, yes, you want to invite your wife in. You want to discuss maybe the grocery list, the bills, how her day at work was. But hang out with your wife. Ladies, hang out with your husband as they take a shit. Now my wife is still at the point where she doesn't want me to see her shit. So after she's done wiping her ass, I can't, she doesn't want me to look at the toilet bowl. She's like, don't look at it. It's gross. But we're getting there, we're working on it. But it represents a level of comfort. Okay. If you can fart and shit in front of each other, and look, one of you is going to be wiping each other's ass one day, right? So you don't want to be 90 years old and you have to take care of your 97-year-old husband and be like, oh my God, honey, this is just so disgusting. No, I'd wipe my wife's ass now if she asked me, and not because she would be disabled or anything, but because it would just be fun. Yeah, why not? Of course I'd love to wipe my wife's ass, and she should want to wipe my ass too. In order to have a good marriage, you need to be able to be willing to wipe your wife's ass, to smell her shit, to enjoy her farts, and it just represents a level of openness. So, with that said, what are the seven key things to have a great marriage? Number one, absolutely 100% do it God's way. And I do believe God would say, if let's say a couple dies and they go to heaven and God's like, yeah, but you never farted in front of her. Why didn't you ever fart in front of her? That's why you had those problems. So, I don't think it's biblical to fart and shit in front of your spouse, but I think God appreciates it. So number one, do it God's way. Number two, marry your emotional opposite. Don't be a crazy motherfucker and marry another crazy motherfucker, you crazy motherfuckers. Number three, watch TV together. Look, it's the modern way of bonding. It is. If you don't have any shows to watch together, you don't have a relationship. Number four, have common enemies. Bond over your hatred of people on TV, or of teams, or of, or the media. My wife and I hate the media, so we love to bond over our hatred of the media. Number five, that's the most unique ingredient, specific to Superchargerboy and his Bambi Octomom, Johnny from The Outsider's Wife. Saturday morning funnies. Take my advice, it works. Number six, get into brand new hobbies together. If you have to be 40 years old and waiting in line at the toy store, then do it. And number seven, fart and shit in front of each other. Yes, fart and shit in front of your wife, guys. This is Superchargerboy, and I am here with the Marriage Coalition, telling you to always fart and shit in front of your husbands. Your marriage will thank you for it. Thanks, guys.